First of all, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to be with us for this webinar. My name is Jason Spangler. I'm the Flooring Division Manager here at Wagner Meters, responsible for both the concrete side of things with the Rapid RH and with the line of hand meters we have for identifying moisture in wood and wood substrates. We've had a lot of good feedback about this. I will tell you that we are in the process of updating this. It is a little bit long in the tooth. Information's still great and still very pertinent, but just trying to update, get us out of some of the older pictures and the older graphics that we have to kind of update and bring in a little bit of different information. As we go through this, we're going to do this Q&A session. Probably won't take that long, but if you do have questions, please don't hesitate to type them in so I can try to respond to as many of them as possible. But if for some reason you do think of something after we get off the phone or after we get off the webinar, please don't hesitate to give me a call directly. My phone number is 800-634-9961 and my direct extension is 235. So with that, I'll get into some of these questions. First one comes from Charles, and it says, after the concrete is initially poured, how many days do you recommend waiting until testing the RH percentage? Usually what we're going to say is we're going to say 28 to 30 days, but it's not because of the moisture in the concrete as much as it's because of the compressive strength of the concrete. The one thing that we know is that in those 30 days, if you were to go in and test at 30 days, the concrete's going to be extremely wet. So most people, you won't see them go in and do any kind of testing until later in the process, just because they already know what they're going to be looking at if they do the tests. One of the questions that I get a lot about is about slabs on grade and how to determine the thickness of those slabs, especially in remodels. One of the things that I tell people as far as what's going on out in the field is that as much information as you can try to gather as possible. There's a lot of stuff out there that you can actually see that you don't really realize until you get out there and start knowing that you have to figure out how thick the slab is. You have different opportunities when they start moving plumbing for remodeling, things of that nature where they're going to trench. You can see it at that time. A lot of times, if you look at the talking with the general contractor, if there is one, some of the construction documents that are out there. But worst case scenario that you can look at is I have people that will take a smaller diameter drill bit and they will drill in a couple of places on that slab to be able to compare the thicknesses from different areas. Again, not recommending that you go out and try to make Swiss cheese out of the slab, but a couple of holes drilled, smaller diameter, at opposite ends of the building. It's going to be something where you can get a good idea of how thick the slab is and be able to compare between the 2 points. Most of the time when the hole's drilled, they'll take some kind of pliable metal or a wire and make a J-hook out of it so that when they push it down through the hole, it has enough compression against it that when it pops out the bottom side of the slab, you can feel it. You pull it up until you feel resistance, mark it off with a Sharpie, and you can kind of compare and see what that thickness is. And then you can make your calculations of 40% thickness or 40% drill depth based on that. Another question that I get a lot of times revolves around pan decking. And one of the things I'll say about pan decking is the ASTM committee and the ASTM standard is silent on those elevated situations where you have metal pan decking. But there are a couple of different ways that people are doing it out in the field and having success with them. One is identifying that thickest portion of that slab. And so the way to do that is that they make very inexpensive metal detectors out there. I say that $60, $70 that you can pick up at Home Depot, Lowe's, places like that, that the magnetic wave for detecting the metal is strong enough that it will pick up the high parts of the metal pan deck, but not so strong that it'll get all the way down to the bottom. So you can utilize it much like a stud finder that you would in a wall. Put it on the surface of the concrete, scan across it. When it picks up a high spot, mark it, scan across a little bit more. When it picks up the other high spot, mark it, and then drill in the middle at 40% of whatever that thickness should be. Again, determining of those, or determining the thickness of that, a lot of times revolves around either some kind of penetrations through that elevated floor or construction documentation. Another way that people are doing it out there is they're coming up with some kind of effective thickness calculation based on a differential between the shallow part and the deep part, and then drilling 40% anywhere on the slab. So those are a couple of different ways that they're out there. Again, ASTM standard at this point is silent on it. They are working on it, trying to come up with something that's more black and white. I have a question from Greg. It says, can we get a copy of the existing PowerPoint? Unfortunately, Greg, the PowerPoint, the way it sits right here, is not something that we can distribute widely, if you will. There are pieces of this video presentation that are done on the website that you can find, and they're broken out in different segments, so you can take a look at that. That would be the best that we can do with it. Okay, well, it looks like I don't have any other questions. So again, my name is Jason Spangler. My direct phone number is 800-634-9961, and my extension is 235. Thanks, and have a great day.